Okay, so let's get ready for today's class. Okay, so once again, we are going to be using, at least for part of the class, like a broom handle or just any long stick, really. If you don't have one, it's okay. We can still do most of the movements. Okay, it's just something that we can play around with for today. Okay, so let's still do our warm up first. Okay, so let's still start off with marching on the spot just to get our body temperature a little bit higher, okay, just to move most of our joints at least a little bit, just to lubricate them. Okay, so let's do a couple of minutes. So while we do that, I'm just going to let more people in as well. Okay, so let's still kind of loosen up our spine a little bit. So we're just going to gently do that by taking a deep breath in while raising the chest up to the ceiling. Okay, and as you breathe out, just gently relax your spine, relax your shoulders. Okay, so you don't need to force yourself there. Okay, but do try to gently pull your chest up towards the ceiling, maybe slightly pull your shoulders back as you take a breath in. Okay, if your spine feels like it's slowly loosening up, you can gently add a little bit of neck, just add a little bit of neck flexion or neck bending, a little bit more rounding in the spine, okay, and try to slightly do the opposite. Arch your back a little bit more. You may try to open your fingers a little bit as well. You pull your fingers back. Okay, still kind of matching our breathing. So take a breath in as we open up the body. Okay, and breathing out as we kind of let the air back out. Okay, and then let's go somewhere in the middle. Okay, and then we're going to do rotations. Okay, so starting off with the neck, just left and right. Make sure you still try to stand tall while you do this. Okay, slowly add the shoulders to it. Okay, so our body follows our eyes. So let's try to glance towards where we are turning towards. Okay, once again, just be gentle. We don't have to go all the way. Give me one more time in the direction. Okay, and let's just add a little bit of speed. Okay, so just gently still swinging, rotating side to side. Okay, this time swinging our shoulders, our arms. Okay, if you can, see if you can reach towards the opposite hip, both in the front and the back. Okay, just to move the shoulders a little bit more. Okay, both arms are going to pull back now. Okay, and fingers back. Okay, our elbows relatively straight. Okay, and just give yourself a hug. Okay, slowly see if you can give yourself a bigger hug. Okay, now we're going to go front to back. Okay, so just bend, extend the elbows, okay, while pulling your arms kind of down and back. Okay, and see if you can slowly get your elbows a little bit higher up. Okay, but once again, stay pain-free. Okay, if something hurts, just go to your limit and stop. Okay, and then let's go side to side. While I let more people in. Okay, and gently see if you can reach a little bit high overhead. Keep trying to bring your chest up along as you reach up. Okay, and then let's rotate the arm a little bit, shoulders a little bit. So we are just going to keep our elbow close to the body, like you have two towels in your armpits, okay, and you're pushing your wrist out, hand out, okay, and you're still keeping that towels in your armpit. Okay, so we're rotating outwards. Okay, now rotating inwards, so elbows away from the body now. You reach into your armpits. Okay, thumb facing backwards as you extend the arm. So your entire shoulder and arms will be rotated forward. Okay, rotate back out. Okay, and repeat. Okay, so try to reach with your thumb backwards a little bit more. Okay, without slouching forward. Okay, so chest always up. Okay, and wrist a few more rotations. Okay, the other way. Okay, each finger, see if you can rotate, draw a bigger circle. Okay, see if you can get your circle towards the back of the hand a little bit more. Okay, and just kind of do it a couple of times. Each finger. Okay, it's okay if multiple fingers move. Okay, as long as the one we're trying to move, okay, is actually moving. Okay, and then we just move all the fingers. Okay, and let's go in hip rotations or hip circles. Okay, once again, trying to draw, exaggerate it slowly as you feel more comfortable. Okay, and all the way around. Okay, feel free to switch directions at any time. Okay, we're going to just exaggerate the front and the back. Okay, so I'm going to have 1 foot forward, 1 foot back. Sorry, just both feet together first. We're going to go on the hip hinge. Okay, so just pushing your butt back, okay, relatively straighter knees. Okay, a little bend is okay. Okay, try to once again lengthen the spine. Okay, so you're bending from the hips, okay, not from the back. Okay, and coming back out. Okay, so we're breathing in as we try to push our butt back. You can think of separating your head from your tailbone. So try to lengthen, separate, create more distance between you two while you're going backwards. Okay, so your hip to your head should be more or less in a straight line. Okay, straight doesn't mean there's no curve in your back. It just means everything is kind of aligned. Okay, so this one, let's add a stick to it just to really check today. Okay, so once again, if you don't have a stick, it's okay. If you do have one, you can use it just to maybe add a bit of variety, just change things up a little bit. Okay, so you're going to try to put the stick kind of right behind your back. Okay, so behind your tailbone to your upper back and then your back of your head. Okay, so at the very least, what you're trying to do is that you're going to try to do the exact same movement as before, okay, while keeping contact with the stick with the back of the head, back of the shoulders, and then your tailbone. Okay, so that's how we know we're more or less in the same alignment as we do this movement. A little bit of a shoulder stretch as well. Okay, and this we can, if you notice the stick is kind of coming off your head, you are probably a little more slouched maybe in general. Okay, so you might want to try, you can try to lengthen your body until you can touch it. Okay, if there's some kind of changes in your back, you might not be able to stick to, get to the head. You don't have to try to bend your head backwards like this to get it. Okay, just do your best to bring your chest up. Okay, so if it's okay, there's a little bit of space between your head and the stick, but try to lengthen your spine, okay, so that it is closer to the stick. Okay, and the bottom, if you start to round, you'll notice things start to kind of get away from the stick as well. Okay, so try to, once again, do not try to kind of do this. Try to just lengthen the entire spine. Okay, while you hinge from the hips. Okay, and you might even notice probably notice myself as well, the kind of the curvature of the, so the amount of space between my bottom hand or the stick and my back kind of changes a little bit as I go down as well. So I tend to have more of this, so there's more space here compared to when I am down here. Okay, so there's some, it just gives you a little bit more feedback than when you just do it without the stick. Okay, so shake it out a little bit, just make your shoulders relax a little bit. Okay, we're going to do the same thing just with the squatting as well. So squatting, the sitting up and down motion is pretty much just, for the hips, is more or less the same. Okay, it's just that this time we're bending the knees a little bit more. Okay, so you can let go of the stick for now. Okay, or if you want, you can just do the same thing. Okay, see if you can bend your knees a little bit more. Hips pretty much the same. Spine pretty much is the same. Okay, it's just that this time we're bending the knees, pushing it slightly forward, so that you can lower your butt onto a chair or the bathroom toilet. Okay, just gives you a feedback as to what you're doing with your back. Okay, just 3 to 5 times. Okay, and then next thing for a second. Okay, and let's go front to back a few, the hips a little bit. Okay, so front to back of the legs. Widen your stance so that probably kind of armpit weight would be stable enough. Okay, lift the front of the belt up a little bit and just press the hips forward. Okay, feeling a stretch in the front of the hips, maybe top of the leg, a little bit in the calf area as well if your ankles are tight. Okay, so just trying to drive the hips forwards a little bit. Okay, 35 times. Okay, and same thing on the other side. Okay, let's try to loosen up. So you can either hold the wall, or if you, one good thing about a stick is that you can use it for a little bit of a support as well. Okay, but you're just swinging. I should probably use a different color stick, and it's probably hard to see. Okay, so and then it's just the same thing on the other side. Okay, I'm just going to switch to a different stick so it's easier to see in the camera. So probably a little better. Okay, but you can use any support. Okay, and let's go side to side a little bit as well. Okay, and same thing on the other side. Okay, and let's use the stick to do a little more work with the hip as well. Okay, so just roughly, just anywhere in front of you, a little bit closer actually. Okay, you can lift kind of one leg up, standing on one leg a little more. Okay, so you can just try to bring the other foot in and touch it. Okay, and come back. Okay, so it probably might be, you can adjust distance. Okay, so maybe just outside of the toes. Okay, and you're just trying to lift and touch, come back. Okay, and slowly see if you can reach a little bit higher up. Okay, so I'm slowly trying to climb, almost imagine climbing up with the foot. Okay, once again, stay within your pain-free range. Okay, if you have a recent hip replacements, don't try too hard. Okay, if your hip replacements, still also don't try too hard. Okay, 35 times. Okay, and let's try the same thing on the other side. Okay, so start off at the bottom. You can still continue lifting your leg if you want to. Okay, if you don't have a stick, just hold on the chair and slowly see if you can go a little bit higher up. Okay, and you can also slightly press down. It will help you to stabilize your body. Okay, but make sure if your stick is not very sturdy, don't break it, I guess. Okay, now we do almost the opposite. So that was what we call external rotation. So the knee is pointing outside. Okay, now we're going to go internal rotation. So the knee is going to go inwards. Okay, so a little further out with the stick. Okay, we're just going to do almost the exact same thing. So if you bring your knee in front, roughly in line with the knee. Okay, and you're just going to touch. Okay, come back. Okay, slowly see if you can also go a little bit slightly high up. Okay, you might have to move the stick a little bit. You probably feel almost like cramp on one side of the hip. Okay, so if you have two sticks, you can actually kind of bounce back and forth between. So that's actually might be easier. Okay, so let's try the same thing. Okay, so let's do the bouncing back and forth. I think that's a little more natural feeling. Okay, so then we just let one more person in. Okay, so kind of just swivel back and forth. Okay, if the knee, you're external rotating, okay, and then internal rotating. You see if you can slowly get a little bit high up. Okay, if your stick is sturdy, you can apply a little bit of force to try to press your foot into the stick if your stick is sturdy enough. Okay, and then we're going to climb back down. Okay, and let's repeat one more time. Okay, so don't worry about the speed or how high you're lifting. Okay, just try to kind of control the movement. Okay, apply a little more pressure to reach further in and reach further out. Okay, so relaxing for a second. Okay, and let's just do one more rotation of hips. Okay, just by drawing a big half circle, semicircle with one foot. Okay, see if you can draw it a full semicircle. So don't just draw in front of you. See if you can reach out to the side, reach towards the back as well. Okay, see if you can lightly squeeze the butt to get the circle further behind you. Okay, make sure you're still breathing. Pause at any time if you need to. Okay, and let's just do a couple of circles of the other foot as well. Okay, once again, see if you can draw behind you, okay, without swinging your upper body kind of around. Okay, so upper body stays relatively still. You're trying to move from the hips, okay, off the leg that's off the floor. Okay, so some people also do kind of using the other foot as well. Okay, so try to draw a full semicircle, focusing on the areas further behind us. Okay, and relaxing for a second. Okay, and let's just bend and extend both knees a little bit. Okay, so start off small motions. If it feels okay, then slowly see if you can bring your heel high up. Okay, let's rock kind of side to side. Okay, so maybe don't use so much support for this one. Okay, rock front to back. So see if you can get more pressure on your toes. Okay, and onto your heels. Okay, just feeling our center of the mass. Kind of shifting front to back. Okay, if that feels okay, see if you can go onto the toes and heels a little bit. Okay, and go into the ankle circles, or use as much support as you need. Okay, so the goal is not to draw fast circles, okay, but to draw a bigger circle. Okay, so you can put a little bit of effort in to draw a bigger circle with your toes, okay, all the way around. Okay, same thing on the other side. Okay, and actually forgot the toes. Okay, so if you can, see if you can just scratch the floor with your toes a little bit. Okay, see if you can pull your toes off the floor. Okay, so almost see if you can spread them apart a little bit. Try to push your big toe in towards inside. Okay, if it's possible for you. Okay, and see if you can just lift the big toe up. Okay, see if you can just lift the rest of your toes off the floor. Okay, so these might not be possible for everyone. Just do our best. Okay, so today we're going to just do a little bit more of the stick. So once again, if you don't have one, you can just follow along using an imaginary stick. Make sure it's somewhat sturdy. Okay, so the first one we're just going to go into, so we're going to hold the stick maybe wide and shoulder width apart. Okay, so we're going to have kind of, let's have 1 foot forward, 1 foot slightly back. Okay. So let's just go into a gentle almost flow. So you imagine you're trying to kind of do a kayak. Okay, so a smaller motion first. Okay, so the reason why we have a staggered stance is if you have both feet together, you're going to rotate a lot through the hips, okay, and the lower body. So we're trying to limit that slightly. So we're moving the upper body a little bit more. Okay, so which is why we have a staggered stance. Okay, widen as much as you need to. It doesn't have to be really wide stance. Okay, just wide enough so that your pelvis is relatively still as we row a kayak. Okay. Slowly see if you can make the motion a little bit bigger. Okay, you can rotate through the upper body a little bit. So turning your shoulders, turning your back. Okay, we're just trying to limit it to the upper body a little bit more. Okay, let's do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so once again, a little bit more of a staggered stance. Okay, and smaller motion first once again. Okay, doesn't have to be fast. Okay, but slowly see if you can make the motion a little bit bigger. Okay, make sure you're still, of course, breathing in and out. Okay, your shoulders are tight, rest at end points. Okay, and pausing for a second. Okay, so now we're going to put in slightly more effort into it. Okay, so the part of the reason why it's good to have a stick is that in general, kind of our mobility, flexibility is not just the length of the muscle, it's also be able to use muscles to lift yourself up as well. Okay, so we're going to have the stick just maybe a little bit wider than shoulder width apart first. Okay, so pretty much at the level of the hips. So if you bend legs or you push the hips backwards, roughly wear down. So actually quite a bit wider than your shoulder width. Okay, so let's just try to gently push. Imagine you're trying to crush the stick by pushing it inward. So your hands are not moving, but you're trying to apply a little bit of pressure to push the stick together. Okay, and you probably notice that your muscles in the front of your body contracts a little bit more. Okay, so your abs might contract, probably this area probably contracts a little bit as well. Okay, so anytime we push the stick together, okay, we're engaging the muscles in the front of the body. Okay, so let's do the opposite. Okay, let's try to pull the stick apart. Okay, so play around with the distance. So if it feels too wide, just get it a little bit closer together. Okay, so you try to pull the stick apart, and you probably notice the back of the shoulders engages a little bit. Okay, muscles in the mid-back area might feel like it's tightening a little bit. Okay, so don't go maximum effort. Okay, at most 30 to 50% of the effort. Okay, so lightly and also slowly ramp up. So don't just jerk into it. Okay, try to see if you can. If you are going to pull harder, see if you can just slowly ramp up. Okay, and just notice the back of the shoulders, mid-back area may tighten a little bit. Okay, so anytime we're folding forward, we're generally speaking using the muscles in the front. Anytime we are extending, okay, so including kind of reaching overhead, we're using the muscles in the back. Okay, so what we're going to do is that we are going to try to engage those muscles while we're lifting upwards. Okay, so first thing is just we're going to lightly, so we're going to pull and pull into the stick apart. Okay, while I am moving my arms overhead. Okay, and once again, just go to your own range, but see if just go to something maybe slightly uncomfortable but not painful, but I'm still trying to pull it apart as I lift my arms up. Okay, and while I'm going back down. Okay, still pulling the stick apart, still pulling the stick apart. When I get to about my chest level, I'm going to push the stick together. Okay, and back down to the hips. Okay, and relax, make sure you're breathing. Okay, once again, don't try too hard. Okay, just light to medium effort at most 30 to 50% strength. And once again, slowly apply your, if you're pushing and pulling, slowly apply that force, don't jerk into it. Okay, so let's try that a couple more times. Okay, so you're pulling, so maybe a little bit wider than shoulder width apart. If your shoulders are very stiff at the top, you might have to go a little bit wider. Okay, but don't worry if you can't reach overhead completely. Okay, still prioritize a taller posture first. Okay, and once again, don't pull too hard. Okay, so lightly, gradually ramp up, pulling the stick apart. Okay, watch your posture as well. Okay, don't sacrifice posture for being able to lift your arms higher. Okay, so still gently pulling the stick apart, still breathing. Okay, still try to take a deep breath in. Okay, still pulling the stick apart. As I reach just overhead as much as I feel comfortable. Okay, and still pulling the rod apart. Coming back down. Okay, when I get to about chest level, we're going to push the rod together, push the stick together, and coming back down. Okay, so let's try 3 to 5 times in total. You can go at your own speed if you want to, or you can follow along with me. I'm going to do about 3 to 4 times. Okay, so still check the posture first. Okay, pull the rod apart. So gradually pull it just to maximum of 30 to 50%. Okay, still pulling it apart. Okay, and coming back down, still pulling the rod apart. Okay, when I get to chest level, I'm going to push it together. Okay, let's do one last time. Okay, so let's gently apply, slowly ramp up. Okay, so I'm still gently pulling, light to moderate effort, pulling the stick apart as I reach up. Okay, and as I come down, I'm still pulling. Okay, until I get to about chest level, then I'm going to try to push the band, so push the stick together. Okay, and let's just relax for a second. Okay, stretch your hands out lightly. Okay, so it just helps us to engage kind of the right muscles to lift the arms up, okay, and down. Okay, so let's almost take a mini break. Okay, we're going to do a little bit more of the wrist. Okay, so you're going to grab the stick maybe somewhere in the middle. Okay, and just start off with just trying to see if you can tilt it back and forth. Okay, but slowly see if you can point further forward. Okay, and point further back. Okay, so really try to, this is kind of like exaggerated kind of wrist movements. A little bit of a shoulder workout, just hold the stick up. Okay, so once again, the goal is not necessarily speed. Okay, just apply a little bit more effort at the end to get our wrist moving a little bit more. Okay, and let's repeat on the other side. Okay, so start off with a smaller motion. Okay, slowly see if you can tilt the stick further forward and further back. Just watch my posture. Okay, let's go rotation of the wrist and the forearm. Okay, so kind of similar starting position. Okay, and you're just going to turn. You're gonna let just someone else in. Okay, so if you don't have a stick, you can just just rotate your arm. Okay, so once again, let's try to exaggerate it. So you really try to turn in. Okay, really try to turn the other direction. Okay, so a little bit of effort to really reach this side up. Okay, a little bit of effort to reach that side up. Okay, so you should probably feel the whole arm, the forearm, the wrist, even the shoulders. Okay, rotating. Okay, let's try the same thing in this position. Okay, so while you're here, make sure that you are not rounding and extending your back so much. Okay, so shoulder stays in almost the same position, back stays in the same position. Okay, you're just trying to lift the bottom up a little bit on one side and lift it the other way. Okay, so the stick just gives you a little bit more feedback to know how much you're rotating, a little bit of resistance so that you can apply the little bit more force as well. Okay, so let's just repeat on the other side. So start off, you can go pretty gentle, maybe slightly faster. Okay, and when you feel comfortable, see if you can tilt one side up a little higher. Okay, tilt the other side a little bit higher on the other side. Okay, so make sure you're not just letting go of the stick of your hand, your fingers. Okay, so a solid grip. So that's not a death grip, but it's just a solid grip. Okay, and just try to rotate your entire arm. Okay, so I'm trying to lift this side up a little higher. Okay, and then I'm trying to lift that side up a little higher. Okay, let's try the same thing, kind of more sideways. Okay, once again, try not to be slouching or using the back so much. Let's see if you can rotate from your shoulders. Okay, and give it a little bit of rest. Okay, so we're going to move just the wrist this time. Okay, so give the shoulders a rest. So have it roughly around here. Maybe a little further away so that we're not hitting ourselves. Okay, but you're just trying to almost imagine stirring, I don't know, paint, a giant pot of stew. Okay, with the wrist. Okay, so even if you hold it the other side of the arm, see if you can rotate it. You can even drop it the stick a little bit lower if you want to add a little bit of resistance, or hold it a little higher up top, but somewhere in the middle is fine. And once again, the goal is to draw a bigger circle. Okay, not necessarily a fast circle. Okay, let's try the same thing on the other side. And so you can, yeah, you try to maybe hold the wrist using it on the hand, or hold the forearm rather. So we know the motion is coming mostly from your wrist. Okay, and shake it off a little bit. Okay, so let's do a little more rotation of the trunk again. Okay, so when you go back to holding the stick, so you can either hold it, if your stick is longer, you can hold it somewhere in the middle. If your stick is relatively shorter, you can hold it at the end if you want to. Okay, we're still in that kind of staggered position. Okay, so we're working on still kind of a little bit more mobility of upper body. Okay, so just find a comfortable position. Doesn't have to be very wide. Okay, but see if you can get both kind of toes still kind of pointed forward. Okay, so we're going to do the push and pull again, but this time instead of going up and down, we're going to go side to side a little bit more. Okay, so maybe a little bit wider than shoulder width, or at least shoulder width apart. Okay, so we're going to gently kind of pull the stick apart again. Okay, and we are going to turn at the same time. Okay, if you have osteoporosis, don't go too far. Okay, so once you reach your limit, take a breath in, breath out. Okay, and when you come back in, press the stick together. Okay, and drive it back to the center. Okay, relax in between. Okay, now we're gonna go the opposite direction. Okay, so we're still trying to pull it a little bit. Okay, and turn. Okay, you might start to feel a little bit of stretch in the front of the hips. Okay. Pause a little bit at the end. Okay, and push stick together as you come back. Okay, and relax in between. Okay, one more time. Okay, so gently pull the stick apart. Okay, so your hips are still pointing forward. Okay, at the end, pause for a second, half a second to a second. Okay, and then push the stick together. As you come back. Okay, and then pull. Okay, push. Okay, and rest of the tree. Okay, a little bit of a shoulder, even of a shoulder workout. A little bit of a stretch even for the front of the hips as well. Okay, so let's take a second to pause. Okay, and let's repeat when we're ready on the other side. Okay, same idea. Okay, so still one foot forward, one foot back. Hips still kind of pointed forward. Toes kind of pointed forward. Okay. Arms would be at least shoulder width apart, could be a little wider. Okay, and we're gonna pull when we turn away from the body and compress when we get back to center. Okay, so gently pull it apart. Okay, turn. Okay, compress. Okay, pull. Compress. Okay, once again, we're not doing maximum strength. Okay, at most 30 to 50%. Okay, and pull. Compress. Okay, and coming back. Okay, take a couple of breaths in and out. Okay, so next one, we're going to maybe do the lower body a little bit. Okay, this one, depending on what flooring you're doing this on, you may or may not be able to use this stick. Okay, so and then having another chair might help. Okay, so what we're going to do is that we're going to try to stretch out the other side, also the back of the leg. Okay, and we're trying to use the stick to give us a little bit of feedback, so something to push against. Okay, so the stick can be just kind of on the floor. Okay, if your flooring is slippery, so if you're actually using a mop and this thing slips on the floor, maybe just forget it. If you're doing this on carpet and the stick doesn't slip, okay, then you may continue using the stick. Okay, so once again, if the stick slips, just forget about it. Okay, so you can use a chair. You can actually just use a chair as well. So okay, actually, okay, I'll explain first, and then we can see what works for everyone. Okay, so you can have one foot forward, one foot back. Okay, and you're just going to push your butt back until you feel a stretch behind the leg. Okay, so what we're doing with the stick is that we're literally just trying to give us a little bit of feedback. Okay, so you can just hold it any way you like. Okay, but you're just going to, so remember when we're folding ourselves in, we're kind of using the muscles in the front of the body, okay, including a little bit of the abs. Okay, so what we're going to do is that we are going to, when we're at the tight position, we are going to just apply a little bit of force. So I usually like to have it straight arm, okay, just to press. I'm trying to drive the stick into the ground while I feel the stretch here. Okay, so if a chair works pretty much just as well, so you might want another chair, or you can turn the chair around. Okay, so while in that tight position, you're going to try to press into the chair. Okay, so a little bit hard to apply force for the chair, okay, but we don't have to try very hard. Okay, so give it a try. So either the chair or with the stick. Okay, but when you're in that tight position, pause for a little bit first. Okay, just hang out here for a little bit longer. Okay, now I'm going to slowly try to see if you can press the stick or press the chair into the ground. Let's try both. Okay, still taking a breath in and out. Let's try to hold it for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay, slowly come back. Okay, move your feet a little bit. Okay, so general idea is that we are trying to pull ourselves into the stretch. Okay, we're not just relying on gravity. We're just not, some people just might just do something like kind of bounce into the stretch. We're trying to pull ourselves into the stretch. Okay, so we're just using this as almost like a feedback. Okay, so we're not trying to we're trying to not do the bounce so much. Okay, we're trying to learn to control our body, especially at what we call the end range, so the end of our reach, or could be down here as well. And we're trying to learn to pull ourselves into it. Okay, so that's why we want to have a little bit of resistance at that range and trying to push it in or pull our body into it. Okay, so I know that maybe can be a little bit awkward if your stick is non-slip. Okay, but let's give it a try. Okay, so same idea as before. Maybe one foot forward, one foot back. You can use as much support as you need to for balance. Okay, you can just start off with just pushing my butt back, keeping the front leg pretty much straight. Okay, just hang out here for a little bit. Okay, make sure I can just holding on as much as I need to for support. Okay, deep breath in and out. Okay, and when you're ready, or if it's possible for you, okay, you can grab the stick or just press on the chair. Okay, and you're just trying to drive your arms into the chair Okay, engaging the muscles at the front of the body a little bit more. Make sure you're still breathing. Make sure it's not maximum effort. At most, kind of just aim for maybe 30. At most 30 to 50%. You can use less if you want to. Okay, and remember, don't jerk. Okay, so slowly apply the force. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. And slowly coming back. Okay, keep moving a little bit. Just check the time. So I have a little bit of time left. Okay, so last one. Let's go back to, actually, let's repeat one more time. Actually, so we're just going to do the same thing one more time. Okay, if it's not quite possible for you, just stick with the chair. Just hang out there. If it's balance an issue, just sit and almost do the same thing and just try to pull yourself into a little bit more. Okay, so find a way that works for you. But the general principle is that we're trying to learn to pull ourselves in. Okay, and we're doing this not by so much slouching, but try to bend from the hips. Okay, so let me try a front angle this time. Okay, so 1 foot forward, slightly ahead of the other. Okay, and pushing, excuse me, 1 foot back. Okay, until I feel a stretch behind the straight leg. Okay, I'm just gonna hang out here for a little bit. We practice my deep breathing here, so let's try to take a deeper breath in. Okay, deeper breath out. Okay, when I feel comfortable, I'm trying to find a spot where I can just push into the stick or push in the chair. You might feel the stress in the back of the leg kind of intensifies and gets a little tighter. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay, coming back out. Okay, it can make some people feel a little bit lightheaded because we are moving our head a little bit. Our blood pressure probably just going from a little higher to a little bit lower as well. Okay, so try to keep moving, hold on to something for support for as long as you need to. Okay, and let's try just one last time on the other side. Okay, you can actually even do it if you're a chair. If you're doing seated, you can probably have the other chair in front of you and you're pushing down the other chair. That probably would work as well. Okay, so in any way that you prefer. Okay, and once again, pushing my butt back, move 1 foot slightly ahead of the other. Okay, and when you're ready, gently and slowly apply a force into the ground, the chair. Okay, with the chair, either the stick or the chair. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay, coming back out. Keep moving in some ways. Okay, pause as long as you need to. Okay, so let's end off with just the gentle arm circle again. Okay, so just holding your stick. Okay, so this time we should have normal standing stance. Okay, and let's just try to Okay, do it kind of slowly. Okay, just I'm holding it this way just because it's more comfortable. Okay, so just use your entire body this time. Okay, don't go too high up. Swing of that. This more is relaxation. Try to lengthen that breath. Okay, so deeper breath in. Okay, and a longer breath out. Okay, and we relax a little bit, shake it out a little bit. Okay, and we just 1 or 2 more deep breath in and out. Okay, so today is a little bit of it's a different kind of effort almost. A lot of what we call isometric movements. It's actually a combination of isometric because you're pushing and pulling, okay, and moving at the same time. Okay, so that's all the time we have for today. So we might just use more of this just to change things up a little bit from now on. So you can definitely, if you don't have one, you can try to find one. If not, you can still do most of the movements as well. Okay, but thank you for coming. If you have any questions about these things, just feel free to ask away. Okay, but otherwise, see everyone next time. Bye. No problem.